Shumai guys, and welcome back to the Life to the Full podcast, the podcast that helps you make the most of your time here on Earth. My name's Dav Morse. I'm your host for today and every day you listen to the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. It's my job, my calling, my mission to learn and to teach and to inspire people to live life to the full. If you're a teacher in the UK, then you only have 1 week left to hand in your notice. If you're considering doing so, or you can't see yourself still teaching 25 years or even 1 year from now, then today's episode is a must listen. If you're not a teacher, considering handing in your notice, there's still plenty for you in today's short episode. There it is. But feel free to go back and listen to an old episode from the archives if you think that that's not for you. Now, I talk a lot about financial health, physical health, mental health, relational health, and spiritual health. And truly living life to the full will involve addressing that spiritual itch that we all have. I often say that the financial aspect of our lives is the lowest rung on the ladder. If you get yourself some level of financial freedom, and I'm not talking about fully fledged financial independence, just a little wiggle room in your finances, it makes the rest of the things easier. It frees up time to look at ourselves, to look at our lives, and ask, am I truly fulfilled? We all still have a responsibility to look at ourselves and ask, am I living my life according to my highest ideals? And if you're not, then it's time for some self-reflection. And one of the most important aspects of living a life you want to live, rather than one society has assigned you, is what we do for work. Many people draw great satisfaction from their work. I'm inspired by my father and my father-in-law who love what they do, and they'll never retire because they have found something worth dedicating their lives to. For others, work is a drudgery, something to get through in order to enjoy the weekend. Some people can be perfectly satisfied doing a boring, inane job that they can drop at 5 p.m. and not think about until the next day. And I have been moving from the latter towards the former, and I'd love the same for you. For those of you who don't know, I was a teacher for 14 years straight out of studying financial mathematics at university. I could never imagine myself still teaching age 75, so I knew at some point I'd have to do something else. And one day, I was out in the park with my daughter, and I felt a voice saying, "Just jump, I'll catch you." And the very next week, I quit my job. It's been a number of years since I quit the classroom and started living more of my ideal lifestyle, and I have learnt a lot. I know the feeling of being trapped in a career I didn't know how to escape from. I know the feeling of relying on faith for my daily bread. Or maybe you can relate. What I've done, and I've mentioned it here on the podcast before, but not spent a long time labouring it, is I've created a 60-minute audio course that guides you through addressing the two main questions that I hear teachers asking all the time, which are, number one, how can I replace my teaching salary? And number two, what else can I do? If you're in two minds whether you should quit with no plan or you want to make a plan to quit, then I'd love you to check out the course. It's 10 bite-sized lessons which you could binge in an hour, and by the end you'll be ready and equipped to make a plan to quit teaching and start living. Even if you're not a teacher, many of the lessons you could apply to your own situation. If you're at a point where you can't see yourself doing what you're doing for the rest of your life, but you don't know where to start thinking about change, then also check it out. If you love what you do, I'm super happy for you. You've had a massive win in life. Be thankful. Share your joy with someone who needs it. As an exclusive podcast first, you special listeners can listen to the introduction of the course right here on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Fountain or whatever you listen to your podcasts. If what you hear piques your interest, then hit me up on Instagram or Life to the Full podcast or David Morse. I'll answer any questions in the DMs. Now, the course will be available. I'll put it in the show notes to link directly to where you can get the course. I'm inspired by people who are willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars on information that could potentially change their lives. And what does £50 mean to you? How could you spend £50 to bring the most benefit to your life? Would you pay £50 for an hour of therapy? An hour of massage? An hour worth of information that would return you 100x? An hour worth of information and inspiration that could change your life forever? Check it out. Like I said, link will be in the description. And here is the introduction to Quit Teaching, Start Living. How can I leave teaching? What are alternative careers for teachers? How do I make a plan that will work without ruining me? If you've ever asked these questions or variations of them, then you're in the right place. There are answers to these questions. The answers are different for everybody. You need to find yours. Thank you for purchasing the Quit Teaching, Start Living audio course. My name's Dav Morse. I am a former teacher who quit the classroom 4 years ago and have since been crafting my lifestyle to do more of the stuff that I enjoy and less of the stuff that I don't. And now I'm sharing my secret sauce with you so that you can leave teaching and start living a more fulfilled life. I didn't want to still be teaching when I'm 70 years old, and if you don't either, then you need to make some changes. If you're not sure how, I'll guide you through everything you need to do, from getting your finances in order to addressing concerns your friends or family might have and starting your new life. If you're anything like me, then you either got into teaching because you quite like hanging out with young people and you want to help them reach their potential, or maybe you couldn't think of anything else you fancy doing. Once you've been doing it for a few years, you start to climb the pay scale and realize you're stuck because you can't make any more money, but you can't afford to make any less money because of the lifestyle you've created. You become disillusioned with the state of schools, the way they're letting students down and letting staff down, but there's no obvious way out. You still want to help people, but you know it's not going to be in the classroom. You'd like to quit teaching, but you don't know how you'll afford it, or what you'll do if you're not a teacher. It's quite the predicament. In this audio course, I'll walk you through everything from making teaching a better fit for you to making sure you're financially and emotionally prepared to leave the classroom and start getting more of your time back and more autonomy over how you live your day-to-day. Nothing changes if you don't change. I've seen colleagues counting down the years until retirement. I've listened to colleagues that say they could never leave, and it's always the same 2 reasons. This course will equip you with the tools and the mindset you need in order to step out of the classroom and take back control over your time. It will take some self-reflection on your part and stepping outside your comfort zone. But you'll find it really is possible to step out of the classroom and into something even more rewarding. If you're ready, let me guide you on your journey towards quitting the classroom and getting your life back. You're only an hour away from being empowered to make that plan that you've been worried about for so long. A plan that will mean you're not stuck in a system that is failing. A plan that will give you the confidence that your life beyond teaching is just around the corner. Let's get started with lesson 1.